What is up, Nerd Nation? It's your boy Hunter here for Film Nerd TV, and tonight we have another episode of The Nerd List, and tonight we are doing best movies based on books. Now, I am going to say when we say books, we are also including graphic novels, not a comic book series arc. I'm not alone, though, and I'm joined by someone who's been on here a lot lately, Malcolm. Welcome back.
It's good to be here. I just love book adaptations. There's definitely a lot out there. I'm probably going to be very picky, and it was very hard to pick just one Harry Potter to put on. So,
yeah, I know. And I'm also joined by Caleb Coho. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. I was a bookworm growing up. Like, I was reading to my class when I was in kindergarten because I couldn't put books down. And so there's a lot of books that have been turned into movies, and they're my two favorite mediums. So I love to talk about both of them now tonight.
Yes, this is gonna be fun. So let's kick off with Malcolm with his first nomination.
the first one I'm going to bring up is a really personal favorite of mine. It's Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. This is one that I've just really loved. This is like I've watched this a million times when I was a kid. I still watch it to this day. It's one of my favorite musicals that's been done. And I mean, Gene Wilder is the best Willy Wonka. And I noticed Caleb gave me a look, and I meant musical movies that I've seen. Like, there's a lot of good ones out there. This is one of my personal favorites. But yeah, this is really faithful to the book. I mean, this is one that Roald Dahl himself wasn't happy with the way they did it, but I enjoyed it all the same.
Yep. All right. So we have Willy Wonka based on the Charlie the Chocolate Factory novel. Caleb, what do you say?
I'm gonna say no, and it's really hard to say no to Willy Wonka, but I don't think the book itself is that enjoyable to read, and then the movie is better than the book. So is it a good adaptation if the movie is better than the book? And also, I don't feel as though it's a movie musical. You got one song in there, and the Oompa Loompas. So I'm gonna pass. I like Willy Wonka. I don't think it belongs on this list.
Malcolm, thank you for picking the right one and not the horrible remake with Johnny Depp. I'm giving it a yes. As someone who has read this book and watched the movie, Caleb's right. It doesn't follow the book to a T, but the book is great. The movie adaptation is excellent with Gene Wilder and Willy Wonka the Chocolate Factory. So I'm giving it a yes. So our first one to go on the list is Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Let me put that on there. Caleb, go on to you.
All right, let's take a look at my list. The first one I'm going to nominate is one that actually is actually a movie that won Best Picture. It was based on a book. The book, when the directors and writers of this film, they both directed and wrote it, were describing the process of adapting this book to film. They said one of them would sit at the computer and type the script, and the other one would read from the book. And this movie is completely faithful. It is amazing. It is an achievement in film and an achievement in literature. I'm talking about the movie based on the Cormac McCarthy novel, No Country for Old Men. It won Best Picture 2007. The Coen brothers won Best Director for it. It is their best film, and it is, I wouldn't say Cormac McCarthy's best novel because that would be The Road in terms of just reading it, but No Country for Old Men is such a great story. It's a great book, a fantastic film. The film is so faithful to the book that the dialogue is perfect. The performances are perfect. When you view them as a book and as a movie and how they work together, it's perfection. And I'm putting No Country for Old Men on the table.
All right, Malcolm, No Country for Old Men. What do you say?
I've actually only seen half this movie. So I really can't say yes based on the half I've seen. So my vote won't really count.
I've actually seen this whole movie, but I have not read the book.
It's the exact same. The exact same.
Is it really?
Down to the dialogue. Like the Anton Chigurh scene in the book is the same as the movie, and it's just as tense.
Mm. This one's really hard because I love that movie. You know what?
It's got to be something you can knock off your list for No Country.
You know what? Yeah, I'll put it on there. No Country for Old Men.
Yes!
Why not?
Suck it, Full Metal 5. I got something on this list.
No Country for Old Men makes the list. Let me write that down. It goes on to me next, correct?
Yes. It's going to be a short show with 3 of us. I just realized that.
Okay, I'm going with one that when I heard this movie was coming out, I read the book. And I feel like this is a very faithful adaptation. I'm going Ready Player One. The book itself was really imaginative, took, the nostalgia of the 80s and other eras and really brought it onto paper. And you couldn't get a better director to direct an adaptation of this than Steven Spielberg. I mean, just everything imaginative about this movie and the book worked so well. He of course had to take out some things that's going to happen, but this is one of my favorite of this year so far, and I'm putting up Ready Player One. Malcolm?
It's a good movie, I'll give you that. But as a book adaptation, it's not that great because I have read the book too, and I mean, yeah, he has taken a lot of stuff, but all the challenges in the movie were not the same challenges that were in the book. And based on the fact that it is significantly different to the book, I'm going to say no.
Caleb?
The fact that you said this was a faithful adaptation of the book is hilarious. They changed a lot, and by a lot, I mean 85% of the movie is different from the book in terms of the story. The basic story we kind of get. There is none of the school planet, which was one of my favorite parts of the book, gone. A lot of the challenges changed. I like the Shining scene, but it was supposed to be a different movie. It was supposed to be War Games, which I think that was a good change. But overall, it's just a lot of... I love Ready Player One, the book. I love the book. The movie was a fun time, and Spielberg was the right choice to direct it. It's just... It's not a faithful adaptation. The movie was a kind of a letdown for me because I love the book so much. It's a good movie. It's fine. So Sandy, don't at me. But I'm gonna say no. I like Ready Player One. It's number 17 on the list of movie to book adaptations I have written down here. I'm gonna say no to Ready Player One. Sorry.
All right, let's go on to Malcolm.
I'm going to swing for the fences and go for my favorite movie of all time, The Wizard of Oz.
Oh,
This is one that someone correct me if I'm wrong, but it was the first one that used the Technicolor technique in cinema, and it's just one of those ones that it's so very faithful to the book. I mean, I think there's a few minor omissions to it, but it's not. It's still most of the book. The book is there. It's pretty much follows the story to a T. Judy Garland is the perfect Dorothy, and I can't remember the people who played the companions, but they were perfect as like the Tin Man, Scarecrow, and the Lion. It's just, and the music is amazing. It's just, yeah, it's all really well done.
All right, let's go over to Caleb.
Hell yes. Sorry. The book is fine. The movie's better because it did the right thing and cut a bunch of garbage out from that drawn out ending. I like the book. The book is nowhere near as amazing as this movie. And I love the music. I love Over the Rainbow. I love Judy Garland. I love everything about this movie on a technical level and on a performance level. I don't know how it lost to Gone with the Wind. It's the biggest Oscar snub of all time. I love The Wizard of Oz. Yes, it belongs on this list.
All right, The Wizard of Oz makes the list. I would have said yes also. I read the book when I was younger. Don't remember that much from it, but I definitely remember watching this movie.
There's a weird like extra 30 pages between the end of the movie and where she gets like they basically, instead of clicking her heels to go home, has to leave Oz by going through Chinatown or Tin China World, and it's so weird. It's so weird. She just click your heels 3 times to go home and skip the BS 30 pages that we cut from the book. I was like, beautiful. I love it.
But I always remember watching this movie almost every year with my family. It's a great family movie. It's just a great movie in general.
Classic.
It's a classic movie. All right, let's go on to Caleb.
All right. So I'm going to bring up my first of 3 graphic novel picks that I have on my list, because when we opened it up to graphic novels, that did affect my list slightly because it allowed one of my favorite books of all time to now be included. Art by Dave Gibbons, a story by Alan Moore. Watchmen is one of the greatest, not just comic books, graphic novels, one of the best works of literature of all time. And as a book, there's a few things in the book where I'm like, maybe I love it for the book because of the commentary mix. But when they brought it to film and they made those necessary changes to make it work as a film, because let's be real, dropping a giant squid on New York is not going to work in an R-rated superhero comedy. I loved Watchmen. The theatrical release movie is fine. It works. The director's cut version, that's 3.5 hours long, is perfection in film. It's a long movie, but it goes by super quick. It's a great noir. It's got great performances. Jackie Earle Haley as Rorschach is one of the greatest film performances in that genre of all time. You also have Patrick Wilson, who plays a great Night Owl. Billy Crudup, who plays a great Dr. Watchman. You have Ozymandias. You have Malin Ackerman as the second Silk Spectre. Carla Gugino as the original Silk Spectre. It is a fantastic movie.
The comedian himself.
Jeffrey Dean Morgan. The best supporting actor of the movie. It's a fantastic ensemble superhero noir. Great story, great direction from Zack Snyder. It's easily Zack Snyder's best movie, and it is the comic book movie, if we're only putting one on the list, that you have to have represent because of graphic novels. Watchmen is the king of graphic novels, and that movie is not praised enough. And I can't wait for the Watchmen TV sequel, and I'm still working my way through Doomsday Clock. It is a great property that is still going on to this day, and the novel itself is fantastic. It is on the top 100 works of American literature list, in the top 10, I believe, and that's the only graphic novel on the top 100. So that should say something about the credibility and work of Alan Moore and Dave Gibbons, and it definitely deserves to be on this list, especially because of the movie as well.
Question about that TV series, though. It's going to be on HBO, correct?
I believe so.
That's the perfect place to have it, if so.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, Malcolm, Watchmen.
Still haven't seen it?
I've seen it. The movie isn't praised enough because it is terrible. I hate the movie, and it's a no, goddamn please, no.
Which version did you watch? That's my question.
Whatever version's on New Zealand Netflix, which is probably the theatrical. I don't know.
Probably the theatrical. And the theatrical, it kind of works, but it cuts a lot of story out, which is why I like the 3.5 version. 3.5 hour version.
On to me. I watched this movie, and like Caleb, I actually really liked the Watchmen movie. I actually did. I haven't read the graphic novel, though.
That's amazing work of literature in terms of satirizing and making fun of comics while also praising everything that's great about them.
Yeah. The thing with me is
you can find room for Watchmen. Do you really need to put the Lord of the Rings on this list over Watchmen? You're wrong.
No, that's not what I'm battling about.
I don't want Lord of the Rings to get on here just so we can hear Robert Parker explode. Robert and Tim and Case and Malcolm over there, everyone's head's just...
Malcolm, I'm sorry, but I'm putting it on the list.
Yeah! That's 2 for 2, baby! Let's go! Right now, three of the things on the board are from my list. I mean, like Malcolm's... Wizard of Oz is his pick, but it was on my list.
All right, on to me. I'm going with I want to go with this one though. Give me 1 second.
I've still got 14 movies to bring up, man. This is insane.
Oh,
I'll make some like honorable mention marks by them.
let me see. All right, I'm gonna put up one that Grant Morris does not like, but I think this movie is incredible. I'm going V for Vendetta, which is another graphic novel. V for Vendetta. I've read both the graphic novel and the movie, and I think, and if you look at it side by side, they did cut some stuff out of the movie, but the Wachowskis did an incredible job with taking the graphic novel and putting it on film. You had a great lead character. You had a great supporting character with Natalie Portman and her whole storyline. Everything about this movie is just fun, entertaining, so dramatic, and so good. So I'm putting up V for Vendetta. Malcolm?
Yeah, I mean, we've got 10 spots, and I don't really want a lot of graphic novels on. I like the movie. I do like the graphic novel as well. But yeah, fuck it, I'll say yes.
Yes.
Malcolm, you voted. I would have said no because it's boring. It's a boring movie.
The movie is not boring.
Hugo Weaving, it's super slow. Hugo Weaving is a good. Hugo Weaving gives a good performance, but Natalie Portman gives a terrible British accent throughout the movie. Terrible British accent. The movie's okay. It's just okay. And the book is fine. But Watchmen is the better Alan Moore book, and we already put it on the list.
Both of them are on there, so.
Well, that one's getting voted off first. All right. Just kidding.
Let's go on to Malcolm.
All right.
Well.
After that last dig from Caleb, I'm going to bring up Lord of the Rings: Return of the King. Because I could not call myself New Zealander if I did not bring a Lord of the Rings movie up.
That's all you guys have. It's Lord of the Rings.
Hey, we've also got Monster Warriors as well, but you guys won't know that, so I'm not going to bring that one up. But this is the better movie out of the trilogy. This one is an Oscar winner as well. Like this one closes off the trilogy, and like Peter Jackson does all the whole trilogy justice, and I mean, like even the extended cut of this, it just works. I mean, both the theatrical and extended work amazingly, and this is really faithful to the book. And to be faithful to Lord of the Rings, it had to be 3+ hours long. Each movie anyway, so Peter Jackson did a great job of adapting this. The acting was incredible. Like in the last few minutes, even Elijah Wood puts up his best bit of acting in the trilogy as well. So I mean, it's so good, and it'll be a crime for me not to bring it up.
All right, let's go on to Caleb. Lord of the Rings: The Return of the King.
Positively, emphatically no, because Lord of the Rings is fine. It's fine. I finally have watched all 3 books. Not watched all 3 books.
You watched all 3 books?
I've watched all 3 movies, Robert. If you're watching, I've seen them all now. I've seen them all. I'm ready to go toe to toe. Not really, because I have surface level knowledge.
Don't challenge the Hobbit to a Lord of the Rings match.
In terms of the 3 books or the 3 movies, I can't really speak to the books. I can only speak to the Hobbit book because I read it in school and thought it was meh. You didn't pick the best of your 3. The best of your 3 is The Two Towers. That's the most entertaining, the most fun to watch. Fellowship is a lot of exposition. It's called exposition, the movie. And Return of the King is about 30 to 45 minutes too long. There's like 18 endings. There's too much happening. They cut to black like 6 times. And I'm like, oh, are we done? Finally, I can go use the bathroom? I don't it pays off a bunch of characters that are okay, and I don't think Return of the King is the book to put on the list from the three. But I'm gonna get outvoted because Hunter's making faces. So,
well, Caleb, guess what's going on the list?
you should have downvoted it and then nominated Two
favorite.
Towers, and I would have said yes.
My favorite of the three. The Two Towers is okay. Fellowship is really good.
Fellowship is really, really long and is exposition of the movie. It's so boring.
Lord of the Rings: Return of the King is on the list.
What a
Hey, Robert.
It's one of the worst.
We finally got on the list.
It's one of the more mediocre Best Picture winners. It's a spectacle, but it's not great.
All right.
All right. I'm looking. I'm reevaluating my picks. You know what? I'm gonna go for childhood sentimentality. I was raised on murder mysteries, and those are my favorite types of stories, and those books were my favorite to read. So my favorite mystery writer is Agatha Christie, and I've been reading Agatha Christie since the 3rd grade. I love her books, and my favorite one of her books has since been retitled and republished over the years, but there is one version that came out in 1966 in black and white with her name escapes me, Shirley Eden, from Goldfinger and James Bond lore fame, in the main role, 10 Little Indians, which has since been republished as And Then There Were None. It is a book. If you're unfamiliar with the book story, movie story, the movie, it has to change things because we were American and couldn't be associated with England, but they still work. It's about 10 strangers. The book is 10 strangers going to an island for a dinner party and are soon murdered off one by one to the tune of a nursery rhyme, where their deaths match the nursery rhyme all the way down to the end, where it says, "And then there were none." And the goal is for the people who are alive to try and catch the killer before they die or figure out who it is. And the book is thrilling. It's fantastic. It's super compelling. And the movie captures all those emotions very well. And it's is my favorite black and white movie of all time. 10 Little Indians is the best murder mystery of all time. And the movie is fantastic. It's a very great adaptation. The performances are very strong. The direction is very solid. No one talks about this movie enough. And I don't think that's fair, because I think it is, I don't know if it's what everyone would go to as the best Agatha Christie adaptation. Most people would go to the 70s Murder on the Orient Express for some reason. But I would say the 60s 10 Little Indian in black and white is the best Agatha Christie movie, because it takes the best Agatha Christie story and it does it super well. It's super thrilling. It's super compelling. And you're on the edge of your seat the entire time. So I'm going to put 10 Little Indians on the table to get downvoted immediately because no one has seen or heard of it.
Malcolm?
Yeah, I'm familiar with this book. I'm familiar with the Family Guy parody of the book.
That is a great parody too.
But I've not seen this movie.
I haven't even heard of either one, the book.
So do I automatically get it on the list?
Sorry, Caleb.
Yeah, it's an automatic down vote. Sorry, Caleb.
Shoot.
Risky though.
Well, I've got two other Agatha Christie's to put on the list. It's okay.
All right, so it's on to me. Very hard, but I'm going to go with the one of this franchise that I feel follows the book closely. And I'm going Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. After watching the movie and reading the book, both mediums are fantastic. I mean, if you go back to the book, it's fantasy, it's adventure, everything about that. And the movie follows the exact same tone, down to like the same lines from the book to the movie. You could tell they really cared about this project. They cared about getting it faithful, and they cared about making you care about the characters of Harry, Ron, Hermione, the teachers, all of them. This is probably my second favorite Harry Potter movie and book. So I'm putting Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone up. Caleb, on to you.
I've actually begun my watching of Harry Potter, and
Yay!
I'm on Prisoner of Azkaban.
Which is
So
the
I have
best.
seen. I have seen. Okay, then why didn't you nominate it? Because you nominated
Because
the worst Harry Potter movie.
It's not as faithful to it as Sorcerer's Stone is.
Sorcerer's Stone is garbage, though. Let's be real. That
was
movie is so hard to watch. It is so hard to watch Sorcerer's Stone and Chamber of Secrets. Chamber of Secrets is worse, but Sorcerer's Stone is hard to watch. Yeah, you can praise it for the majesty of, oh, it's magical. It brought me into the world. But they've done it better in the films going forward. And I'm only on the first film where we don't have Chris Columbus, and I can already tell we're going in a great trajectory with this franchise. I can't speak to the books because I haven't read the books, but I will go based on my knowledge of the movie and say that Sorcerer's Stone does not deserve to be on the list because this movie is not good. And if this is faithful to the book, I have no interest in reading the books.
Malcolm?
Yeah, I mean, as much as I do like this adaptation, but I can't believe I'm about to say this, but I agree with Caleb on Harry Potter. It's not the one you should have nominated.
Like I said, I went with Sorcerer's Stone because it's the most faithful to the original book.
Hey,
Then I really don't want to read the books because I don't like Sorcerer's Stone.
Oh,
I like
the
Prisoner
books
so
is,
far, though.
yeah. I mean, the book is still. I mean, in my opinion, I still think the book is better because there is still some bits that they did take out of the book in this one. So yeah.
Yeah. All right. Going on to Malcolm.
All right, Malcolm. Which one are you throwing up now? It's Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring. We're putting all three.
No. No, I'm going to go for the Harry Potter movie that you should have brought up, and I know Caleb has seen this one. I'm bringing up Harry Potter. I'm bringing up Prisoner of Azkaban.
Okay.
I mean, this is probably this is a good adaptation. Alfonso Cuarón did really good jobs for this. Like in this, because my problem with Philosopher's Stone was it was more like a lot of the acting from the main three. Like I get they was just starting out, but the acting of Harry and that weren't that great. Prince of Azkaban is where their acting started to come out and actually elevate the greatness. This started the series on what will become the dark tones of the later one, and should there have been two movies from Goblet of Fire onwards? Yeah, but I mean,
yeah,
but this one, it was a great adaptation and all of it, and it all worked.
All right, going on to me. It's a yes for me.
Yes, I figured that one was going to go with you.
Yeah, this is one of my favorite movies and books. Like I said, the only reason I put Sorcerer's Stone is because it is more faithful to the first book, but this one is still a faithful adaptation of the book. The book gives you a bit more details about Sirius Black, his case, everything about that. The movie kind of takes out, and I wish they would have kept in the stuff with him and Wormtail and all that interaction. We find out why he was in prison, but for what they did, this is an incredible movie, an incredible book. It's on the list.
I would have.
What would you said?
I would have downvoted it because there's 13 more books that I like.
Because
like 13,
Potter,
there's 13 more books to movies that I want on here more. I don't think a lot of them are getting on here, but I have 13 ahead of this one. But if I had to pick a Harry Potter movie to make the list based on the 4 with Fantastic Beasts, but it's an original screenplay. If I had to pick one of the Wizarding World movies that I've seen, one of the 4 to make the list so far, I'd pick this one. So, yeah.
All right.
Not upset, but I'm not thrilled. All right. All right. I have, like I said, I have 13. I have a couple honorable mentions, but there's I'm gonna go with I'm gonna go with some classic literature on this one. because right now we're in the realm of nominating some fantasy classics. There was a movie that came out in 2005 that really made me love visual storytelling. And I went back and read all 7 books in the series after this movie came out. And I love almost all of them. The Horse and His Boy can perish. But other than that, The Chronicles of Narnia, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe is a fantastic movie and a fantastic book. C.S. Lewis is Harold is one of the greatest writers of all time for a reason. Because he crafted such a fantastic world. And while Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe was the first book he published and it's the first movie that we were introduced, it completely introduces you to this world without too much backstory needed. Of course, we got The Magician's Nephew later, which, gave us the history of Narnia and where it came from, which, again, unneeded, but it was still interesting. But I love The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe as a movie and as a book. It stands completely alone as being great, as a great franchise starter, as a great standalone story. Subsequently, we got 2 more of the books made into films. Prince Caspian, which was very good. Voyage of the Dawn Treader, which was okay, but again, the book is okay. So I think the movie was a good adaptation of the book. It was just the book is not great in the first place. But of the Narnia trilogy, the first one I think is the best one. And the book is just as good. If they're equal, it's a fantastic, perfect adaptation. I love the Pevensey children in this one. Liam Neeson as Aslan is exactly how I read it in my head, and I didn't know who Liam Neeson was before I read the book or saw the movie. And James McAvoy as Tumnus is fantastic. And the movie in general, Tilda Swinton, the perfect White Witch. And the movie is great. The book is great. And if we are doing a top 10 books to movie adaptation, Narnia needs to be represented in some capacity because it is the better Lord of the Rings. Thank you.
Malcolm?
In terms of books.
Well, I mean, he picked the right Narnia movie, that's for sure. And it's going to be yes for me. And I will point out, had Peter Jackson not taken the risk with Lord of the Rings and shown that you can do big fantasy novels, I don't think we would have gotten this. So
we had already gotten Narnia before the first Narnia. We had seen Narnia done already. They had adapted Prince Caspian, Silverchair, and Voyage of the Dawn Treader in the 70s and 80s, and they were pretty well known. And they were successes.
I'm aware they have been done before. What I meant was,
to Disney, yes, you're right.
Yeah. No, what I was about to say before you cut in was, had we not had the success with Lord of the Rings, they probably wouldn't have not taken another risk because, like back in the 80s, they would have only had limited budget. This Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe showed what they can do with a bigger budget and a lot more resources at their hand. So, and I'm pretty sure, and Reader Workshop did actually help work on this as well. So,
yeah, C.S. Lewis and J.R.R. Tolkien were friends, and they helped each other write their stories. So, that's why Lord of the Rings is good because
okay, guys, break it up.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
We need to have a freaking book battle between like Lord of the Rings and Chronicle of Narnia now.
Oh, I will argue Narnia until the day I die. That's a series of 7 books that only has one really like not great book in there. So
I'll just call in my ringer Robert Parker to argue for Lord of the Rings.
Well, Robert has to argue 5 books, and of the 5, 2 are awful, 1 is okay, and 2 are good. And of Narnia, there's 1 bad book, 1 mediocre book.
Okay.
And 5 great books. 5 great books.
Move on.
So, wreck.
So Chronicles of Narnia, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe is on the list. I probably would have said no. Pretty much because I love the book. The movie was okay to me. It wasn't great, but it was okay. The child actors were what they were. They weren't
fantastic. Good. Yeah, good.
No, they were awful. But
they were amazing. I don't know. William Moseley is a perfect Peter Pevensey. Like perfect. So, just saying.
Hunter, that's like just your opinion, man.
That's just like your opinion, man. Like, yeah.
All right, going on to me. I'm putting up one that it's a book I read in school, and they showed me the movie in school because it's so it. The book and the movie delve with how do I roll this? They dealt with tough issues in a way that kids would understand, or middle school, high school, whatever. And I'm going To Kill a Mockingbird, which the book is fantastic, and the movie that came out in, let me see if I can get was it 1962?
1962.
Was incredible also. I mean, it's the story of a white lawyer who has to take on an African American case and the struggles with that during that time period, and just the acting in the movie, the character developments, everything about the movie and the book. This is a perfect adaptation in general. So I'm putting up To Kill a Mockingbird. Malcolm?
I mean, this is tough for me because I love the book. I really had a hard job watching the movie. I got really bored in it, to be honest. I'm going to say no.
All right, Caleb?
The book and the movie. I remember because I've seen these 2 years ago. Was when I read them and watched the movie. I remember hating the first half of the book because it was just so slow. And then we got to the courtroom drama stuff, and I was like, this is great. And the first half of the movie did the same thing for me. And I'm going to vote no for that reason, where it's a fine book, and I think the messages in it are super important. But as a reader, it didn't hold my attention as much as, say, like Night or Mouse or some of the other books that we read that were also big culturally relevant books in school. The things they carried. Like, there's a bunch of books that we have read that were also culturally important that were way more entertaining. The Crucible, All My Sons, they're like way more entertaining books to me that tackled similar issues or just big issues in general. And I don't think they handled. I just think it's kind of boring. It's really just kind of boring and not fun to read or watch. So, and I mean, Gregory Peck deserved the Oscar. He was amazing. But yeah, I'm gonna have to say no to Kill a Mockingbird.
All right, agree to disagree, but going on to Malcolm.
Yeah, and I mean, just to go off on that point for a bit, I think for a book, having the first half be exposition works more for the book,
Yes.
But for a movie, I probably would have maybe mixed it up and sort of done like the first half is maybe flashbacks, have courtroom drama sort of paced throughout the movie, but That's just me. But anyway, I mean, for mine, I'm going to just play a game with this. I'm going to bring up Jumanji, but with Robin Williams. This movie was great.
That's right.
It's based on a 1980 book by Chris Van der Elsen or something like that.
Chris Van Allison.
This is one of Robin Williams' great movie roles. And this movie just works. Like, it's really faithful to the book. I remember after I watched this movie for the first time, I actually read and got the book and read it. It was faithful to the book. It just brought up. I mean, yes, this sequel with The Rock and that was better, but that sequel wasn't based on a book, so I couldn't nominate it. So,
all right, Caleb.
You mentioned it yourself. The second movie is infinite times better than the first movie. The first movie is not great. I love Robin Williams, but I can't in good conscience say yes to this because I don't like the movie. I've never read the book, so I can't say. I have to go just based on my movie knowledge, and with my movie knowledge of Jumanji, I don't love it. It's okay. Welcome to the Jungle, I had a blast. I loved everything about Welcome to the Jungle, but I find myself fast forwarding a lot through Jumanji because it has very slow moments and dull moments and things that I don't particularly love. So, and it's very cheesy. So,
Okay. I've seen the movie. I've not read the book. But I absolutely love the original movie.
remember, if you vote this on, there's only one more spot on the list.
I know.
That's another reason why I voted it down, is because there's only 2 spots left.
That's my big problem is I love the movie, but not reading the book, I can't compare them. And then with 2 spots left, I'm about to give it a no. All right, so Jumanji does not make the list. Let me move on to Caleb.
All right, I've got books written down here. I'm gonna throw a more recent one up. I read the book after seeing the movie because I wasn't expecting anything going into this movie. I was blown away. Thought it should have won Best Picture when it was nominated. Read the book. It was very great. Matt Damon's amazing. Ridley Scott directed it fantastically.
Wow.
It's The Martian. The Martian is an outstanding movie. It's a great character study of this guy. It's very thrilling. It's very interesting. The fact that they were able to make a story about a guy trapped on Mars interesting was really cool. That they kept me interested the entire time. I was always invested in what happened to Matt Damon, and the stuff at NASA on Earth was equally compelling because it's a ticking clock where you're like, okay, this guy's gonna die, and Jeff Daniels is a douche, and it's like I love The Martian. It was my favorite movie of 2015 for many years, and then I saw The Hateful Eight. But I love The Martian, and I love Matt Damon's performance. He should have won. And I love the book. I went back and read it. It's fantastic. It's just as thrilling. It's just as interesting. Drew Goddard does a great job adapting it, and it definitely deserves to be on the list. And after that, if that gets voted down, I have 3 more shots at the dark to take.
All right, Malcolm, The Martian.
I've not seen it.
You have not seen The Martian?
It's
Sure.
on my list. It's on my list. I just haven't got around to it.
Oh man, you gotta watch The Martian. So good.
I've seen The Martian.
So funny. So good.
I've seen The Martian. I did not read the book.
It's basically the same. There's not much difference.
But when this movie came out, I didn't like it that much. I didn't like the movie.
Really? It's literally Best Picture nominated, man. It was so good.
Yeah, it shouldn't have been, in my opinion.
What? What deserved to be nominated more than The Martian?
I don't know what was nominated that year. I can't remember. But
That hurts.
like, I'm about to give it a no just based on I didn't like the movie that much.
Wow. How can you not like The Martian? So funny, so good, so thrilling, so compelling. Much wow.
Going on to me.
So sorry, Drew Goddard. I hope Bad Times at the El Royale actually gets Hunter to like you.
I don't hate the director. I just don't like that one movie.
He didn't direct it. He wrote that one.
Oh, he wrote it. Whatever.
Yeah.
But
Great writer.
all right, I'm going with this one. I'm going with one of my favorite horror movies of all time that I think was a great, fantastic novel. I'm going Stephen King's The Shining, directed by hold on. Stanley Kubrick, excuse me.
No, if you go the one I'm thinking of, this is a no vote. Sorry.
Which one?
Say what you're thinking, and then I'll rip it to shreds.
Well, I'm going the Stanley Kubrick directed movie. This movie was absolutely fantastic. It made the necessary changes from the books and made it even more terrifying. Jack Nicholson is epically good in this movie. The scares, the family dynamic, Danny, everything about this movie is really, really, really good. One of my favorite horror movies, and it makes the necessary changes from the books that it needs to, but it keeps the heart of the book. All right, so I'm putting up The Shining. Okay. Malcolm?
Yeah, I mean, it's not the Stephen King movie I thought you were going to bring up.
There's a
The
better
Shining
Stephen King movie.
is The Shining is good. It's a good book. The movie is good, but two spots still remaining. I don't think it should be in the top 10. So it's a no for me.
Caleb?
It's also a no from me. If your author hates the movie version of your story, I think that discredits it a little bit.
Granted, though, Alan Moore hates all of his adaptations.
Well, Alan Moore hates everything. Alan Moore doesn't like anything in general. Like Alan Moore thinks his own stories suck. Okay, like Alan Moore doesn't
Alan
like
Moore
himself.
said he didn't want writers' credit on Watchmen or V for Vendetta. That's how much he hated it. We still put it on.
He doesn't like anything though. Like Alan Moore is super stingy. I think Stephen King is one of the greatest writers of all time. One of the greatest writers of all time, hands down. And he put out that masterclass on writing, Stephen King on writing, and I've read it twice. I love that book. But I can't in good conscience put The Shining on because it's a good, like Malcolm said, 2 spots left. I don't think it deserves to be on. There's a better Stephen King book that was made into a movie that should go on instead. And yeah, if I just think if your writer,
I think I know where you guys are going, and I also have this one on my list.
Yeah.
I can't.
I could not put the TV movie on there. The TV miniseries, that was fucking awful.
If we could put TV miniseries on here, 11/22/63 would be the Stephen King thing I put up in a heartbeat. That's a fantastic book and a fantastic miniseries on Hulu. I love 11/22/63.
But moving on,
but we can't do that. So
can't believe The Shining didn't make it, man.
Sorry that we put V for Vendetta and Lord of the Rings on, so no Shining.
All right, Malcolm, go ahead.
Right. No, I'm not going to go for the other one that I think it should have been. I'm going to go for one that I actually just remembered when Caleb was going on about the Martian. I completely forgot this was based on the book. But I'm going to go for Forrest Gump. This is based on a book. I can't remember who wrote it. But I mean, this is a really good adaptation, and Tom Hanks is perfect as the lead. It really deserved to win the Oscar. All the acting in the movie is great. Sally Field as Forrest's mum was perfect, and it's just one of those ones that I can watch over and over again, and not get bored at least once.
All right, let's go on to Caleb, who looks like he wants to bang his head on his desk.
No, I'm gonna say no, because Forrest Gump I've never read the book. I think it's an overrated movie. It's good. It's a good movie. I'm not taking it away from it. I'm just saying in a year stacked like that for Best Picture, it shouldn't have won. It's not up against Pulp Fiction, not up against Quiz Show, not up against Shawshank. But no, that's a different discussion for a different day. I don't think Forrest Gump in particular is a fantastic movie. I think it's good. And I think Tom Hanks deserved his Oscar, and he got it, and he went home happy. And it's a fine movie to watch, but I don't think it should go on Best Movie Book to Movie adaptations.
All right. Going on me, I haven't read the book, but I absolutely love the movie. But with 2 spots remaining, I can't put it on the list. I'm sorry, Malcolm.
All right, my turn. Beautiful. All right, back around to me. And now I'm staring at my books and wondering which one I want to put. I'm going to go with this one. I'm going to go for the one that was just most recently nominated for Best Adapted Screenplay. It's a fantastic story. I just realized I have two books on here that were adapted to film by the same screenwriting team of Michael H. Weber and Scott Neustender, so that's hilarious. But I'm going to go with the one that actually got Oscar nominated. It lost to Call Me By Your Name unfairly because James Franco had his whole Me Too issue, and that's terrible, but they shouldn't have punished the writers for that. The Disaster Artist was a fantastic movie, a fantastic book, and the book is entertaining, and the movie adapts it beat for beat into one of the greatest comedies of the decade. It's a fantastic movie. It's actually a very inspiring movie. Tommy Wiseau is such a character that James Franco kills it. I personally think Franco should have won the Oscar that year over Gary Oldman if he would have been nominated. I think Disaster Artist should have been nominated for a lot more than it was. It was a great movie, fantastic comedy, and the book is a very faithful adaptation to the book. And I think the Disaster Artist should be on here because it's fantastic. It's fantastic. It's fantastic. And if The Martian didn't make it, the Disaster Artist needs to.
Malcolm, the Disaster Artist.
What world have I come into that I'm starting to agree with Caleb Coho of all people? It's a yes for me.
Yes.
I agree with him a lot of those points. It should have been nominated for more Oscars.
Should have been Best Picture.
Yeah, I mean, whether or not it should have won over Shape of Water, I'm
no,
sure.
not win. I don't think it should have won, but it should have been nominated.
Nominated, yeah.
I mean, it's one of those things like all that bullshit for James Franco where it wasn't even proven. And I think that's the only reason he wasn't nominated a lot.
That's the reason why it didn't win the screenplay, and that's not fair to those writers. It's like,
yeah. All right. If you're done with your point, Malcolm, are you?
Yeah, I am.
Okay. I want to give it a yes also. I love the movie. I haven't read the book, but I know of the book. I know what it's about, and I agree with you. James Franco plays a perfect Tommy Wiseau and should have been nominated, and this should have gotten should have won for best was adapted screenplay.
Yep.
Original.
Yeah.
Adapted based on the book, so it's adapted.
All right. So we have one.
Original.
We have one spot remaining. It's on to me. Fuck. Which one of these two do I want to put on? I'm going for the one that I've actually read the book to. I'm going another Stephen King movie. I'm going Misery.
Oh, God. He just swung and missed again, Malcolm. He swung and missed again.
I know which one I should go for. But
if you go for that, it'll probably get the spot. I'm literally looking at the last three books that I want to. No. You said Misery. No. You said Misery. Let's just vote it down and move on.
All right, it's gonna get voted down anyway. So let's move on to Malcolm.
Yeah, sorry.
I mean, tell us why you like the Misery adaptation if you want.
Yeah.
And go ahead, Malcolm.
I'm looking at their I'm gonna go
one spot remaining, Malcolm.
Well,
I'm not gonna go.
If we make it back to Hunter, we know which Stephen King book he's gonna try out. That's at number 3, so it's fine.
I'm gonna say I'm gonna bring up Matilda. But I know I've already got a Rodell book on here, but the Matilda movie is a really faithful adaptation of the book. Mara Wilson is the perfect choice for Matilda. Danny DeVito was great as her father. I think it was Imelda Staunton that played Trunchbull, and as Hunter will know from Harry Potter, she's really good at playing a evil person in movies, so she was the perfect choice for Trunchbull.
She's the one who played Umbridge.
That's the one. This adaptation, it works in every way. It's just it's really great, and I've just really loved this. I could rewatch this over and over again.
Okay, let's go on to Caleb. Matilda.
No, sorry. I've never read the book. I'm gonna go based on the movie. The movie's okay, and based on the one spot left, Matilda is not the one to go on here. There's actually a coming of age book that I'm gonna toss up next that I think is better. So
I think I know where you're going with this one. Yeah, it's gonna be a no for me, especially just with one spot available. The movie I loved when I was a kid. Went back and watched it now, and it's okay. I mean, it's entertaining for what it was. Danny DeVito is so over the top, but it's kind of entertaining. I just can't do it with one spot available. All right, Caleb.
All right. I'm gonna take one of my favorite stories of all time. It's based on the book by John Green. John Green, one of the best coming of age teen authors of all time. He writes a lot of really great, compelling stories. An Abundance of Catherines, The Fault in Our Stars. Well, I think The Fault in Our Stars is his weakest one. His best one was adapted into a film, written by the screenwriters of The Disaster Artist, Scott Neeson and Michael H. Weber, called Paper Towns. And Paper Towns is a fantastic book. And it starts out as this really sweet romance, sort of one night of adventure, and becomes a really interesting mystery, as well as a look at this kid who's, growing up with his friends, trying to enjoy the end of his high school while also pining after his perfect dream girl. And Paper Towns as a movie, is one of my favorites. I love watching it. Cara Delevingne is perfectly cast as Margot Roth Spiegelman, and it's a fantastic book, fantastic movie adaptation. And I think John Green deserves to have one of his books get on here because he is a fantastic writer. Turtles All the Way Down being his newest one that they're trying to make into a book now. Mystery. It's not Mystery Alaska. It's like Missing Alaska, Looking for Alaska. That's another good one that he does. But his best one is Paper Towns, and I think Paper Towns deserves to be on this list. It's probably going to get voted down, but I took a shot. It's cool.
All right, going to me. I haven't seen the movie or read the book. So, Malcolm?
Yeah, I've seen Fault in the Stars. I've not seen Paper Towns.
Paper Towns is so much better than Fault in Our Stars.
So
much. Fault in Our Stars is so over the top. So over the top.
Right, which Stephen King one do you go pick up now?
I haven't even seen...
All right, well, here comes the Stephen King one.
All right, this is the only Stephen King one that I have left, so if this is the wrong one, I guess screw you guys, but I'm going The Shawshank Redemption.
Oh my gosh, Malcolm! 0 for 4! Are we kidding?
The Shawshank Redemption is a great book and an even better movie. You're talking about great actors. You're talking about just a great overall story of redemption of a guy who's being sentenced for something that he did not do, and the pain that he knows he's innocent. Like the thread of the book and the thread of the movie, especially that ending when he finally escapes. It's a great moment in cinema, in my opinion. So I'm putting up The Shawshank Redemption. Malcolm?
I'm not. It's a good movie, but it's actually a short story and not a full-blown book.
It's not a book.
So because of that, I'm going to say no.
I'm going to say no as well for that reason. And also, Shawshank is good, not amazing.
Shawshank is great.
It's good. It's good. I liked it less than Forrest Gump. Anyway.
All right, Malcolm.
Forrest Gump did deserve to beat that one for Best Picture.
Are
you gonna say that? Are you gonna say the Stephen King one that he should have said?
Yeah, I'm gonna see if he kicks himself for it. 2017. I'll
have some things to say about that.
All right, here we go.
But
go to Hunter first. After you.
But yeah, this is the perfect It movie out there. The miniseries that was written with him anyway was good. Tim Curry did well as Pennywise. But in this one, Bill Skarsgård did better and Pennywise, and the kids' acting was phenomenal. This was just an incredible adaptation. Okay,
going on to me first. I love this movie. I really do. I really love this movie. But it's not complete. The book does it takes you to the kid's life and then the adult life back and forth. That's why I can't put it on here, because it's not a complete story. It's not a complete adaptation. This movie follows the kids, which it should, but I can't put it on here with one spot available knowing that it's not a complete adaptation from the original It story. Caleb?
Hunter just swayed me. I didn't realize in my mind that was part 1 of 2. So yeah, with that argument, I might actually have to vote down It, and that actually hurts. That actually hurts because I love It. I love It so much. It's one of my favorite movies from last year. It's my favorite horror movie of all time.
Mine too, but I'm just saying it's just not a complete.
Wow, that was a
I
roundhouse kick to knock it off this
list.
list.
Well, there were 2 separate books. So, it's my bad.
Yeah, wow, I didn't realize. Wow, yeah, wow. All right. I'm rocked. That was a haymaker. Wow.
Trust me, I love the book and I love this 2017 movie. It's just not done yet.
Wow.
All right, Caleb, on you.
All right, my turn again? Yep. All right.
Yep.
I have 2 books written here. And I'm not sure when the next time back around to me is going to come. So I don't know which one to throw up. One I think is a home run hitter, and one is a personal favorite. So I'm going to say the personal favorite in the hopes that they get back to me so I can say the home run hitter. I'm going to toss up the Hunger Games Catching Fire because the Hunger Games franchise as a whole adapts the books pretty faithfully. The first book is very good, and the first movie is really solid. The second book is the best of the 3, and the second movie is the best of the 4 because it adapts it so perfectly faithfully. And they make some necessary changes that I think would slow down and bog down the movie because Suzanne Collins has that tendency to add a lot of unnecessary stuff that bog down the story, which is why the first movie is not as extremely faithful, which is why I didn't pick it. And Mockingjay parts 1 and 2 are awful, and the book is awful, so it doesn't matter. But Catching Fire, I think, is a perfect story. It works really well on its own while also following up on what came before. Francis Lawrence is fantastically directs this one after Gary Ross did the first one, and it's so amazing every time I watch it because when I just watched it again recently, it's very well made. Like people don't forget the cinematography in that movie is really, really well done. The editing is very breakneck paced, and it's a movie that ultimately is a personal story about this girl suffering from PTSD, and overall is then forced back into the situation that gave her PTSD in the first place, and she has to confront it. And it's very well done. It's very well constructed, very well put together, and I love it. It's the best of the 4 movies and the best of the 3 books, and it's the best of the Hunger Games. So I'm going to put that one forward, and if that one doesn't make it, I've got one more home run hitter to throw, and then I start pulling from honorable mentions. So,
okay, going on me. I have not read the books, but I have seen the movies, and the movies do not do it for me. They're okay for what they are, but they just didn't hook me like it did a lot of people. So it's gonna be a no for me. Malcolm.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Caleb, but it's not coming back round to you because I'm saying yes to Catching Fire because as an adaptation, it works.
God damn it! I had one I should have brought up. Damn it.
It works. It perfectly captures the book in the movie. And if you had said Hunger Games, it still would have been a yes because both of them work really well. So.
And Mockingjay sucks.
Mockingjay does suck.
I would have said no to Mockingjay because
also incomplete story.
Not the whole book, so yeah.
Right. But the whole book itself is still really bland, in my opinion.
All right. I kind of wish I said yes to It 2017 now.
What did you have for?
So, I'm gonna say my honorable mentions first, and then we'll go to Malcolm, then Caleb.
Okay.
So I had the one I was gonna bring up next was The Silence of the Lambs because I love the book and I love the movie. Absolutely love the movie. I had Jaws, Gone Girl, Edge of Tomorrow, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, and 300.
All right. My home run hitter that I was going to pitch next was actually Scott Pilgrim versus the World because I think it's great and it's a great graphic novel adaptation. And then my honorable mentions, Edge of Tomorrow is on my honorable mentions. My 2 other Agatha Christie books, Death on the Nile and Murder on the Orient Express. Death on the Nile with Peter Ustinov, fantastic movie, fantastic adaptation of the book with Angela Lansbury. Murder on the Orient Express, Oscar nominated, the best of Agatha Christie's books in terms of critical acclaim and has been adapted into film form many times. And I would have chosen the 1974 one with the Oscar-winning Ingrid Bergman and the great performance by Sean Connery, rather than the 2017 one with Johnny Depp. I had the Ten Commandments on here as a gaudy pick because it's based on the Bible. Fight me, but it's a great movie. It's a great epic, and I think it's very well put together.
It's pretty much based on one part of the Bible.
It's based on one book of the Bible, therefore it's based on Exodus, which is the book of the Bible that would there count.
All right, Caleb, stop.
And then I also had The Princess Bride, Holes, and Jurassic Park.
Oh yeah, Holes.
Holes is a great coming of age movie that I love a lot.
Malcolm?
I'm just gonna say one point. As a Christian, I actually would have agreed with Caleb on his argument for Tigabab, so I probably would have said yes to it, and he pitched it.
Wow. I would have won if I put Ten Commandments up. That's awesome.
But my overall mentions, I had a few other Wild Dale ones there. I had the BFG that Spielberg did recently. I had The Witches. I had Shrek.
Yep.
I also had Scott Pilgrim and Edge of Tomorrow. And I mean, I completely forgot about Jurassic Park and The Lost World.
Yeah. And see, if I had saw or read the book, I would have put Crazy Rich Asians in there also.
I haven't seen
That movie was fantastic.
I was almost going to put Carrie up there as well.
I don't love Carrie.
All
What,
right,
you
guys.
don't love any of the movie versions?
I don't love any version of Carrie. I think the only memorable part for me is the ending. But I mean, that's fine.
All right, guys. We have our top 10. Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, No Country for Old Men, The Wizard of Oz, Watchmen, V for Vendetta, Lord of the Rings, Return of the King, Harry Potter, The Prisoner of Azkaban, The Chronicles of Narnia, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, The Disaster Artist, and The Hunger Games, Catching Fire.
Wow, that mumble at the end, that was disrespectful.
It's not a good movie.
It's better than Watchmen.
I disagree with that.
I very much.
It's better than Lord of the Rings 3, though.
No, it's not.
I disagree with that.
All right, guys. So let's knock off 3 off of this list.
And we use the boards for this, right?
Yes.
Okay, hold on. I'm writing down the options onto a notebook so I can here. Hold on. Willy Wonka, No Country, Wizard of Oz.
All right.
Watchmen. Sorry, I'm writing as fast as I can, so then we don't hold up the show.
No, that's fine.
1, 2, 3. Azkaban. Anyone? Disaster. And okay, ready. And now I can erase my board so I can use it.
All right, I'll start. I have Catching Fire.
Is the one you're putting up to be
be
eliminated?
Yes, eliminated.
I need to write mine down. Hold on.
Okay.
I put Watchmen to be kicked off.
Oh well, if I had to pick from the list, I didn't write it down, but I would have said Lord of the Rings. So that's a clean draw of no one can pick. Yeah.
Well, Caleb, since you're the only one that picked, or hold on,
we all only picked one.
Yeah.
I think we just start over. I'll pick a different one.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I'm just gonna pick a new one. I'll write mine down this time.
Are we all picking new ones, or?
Yeah, I mean you can.
Might as well, because
Okay.
yeah.
I picked a new one.
Okay. Okay. I'll start. I have No Country for Old Men. Malcolm.
Just because I haven't seen it all, No Country for Old Men.
I said V for Vendetta. I can't believe he voted off my second favorite movie of all time.
I love the movie. I just haven't read the book.
Wow. No Country for Old Men is not on the list. That's crazy.
All right. Let's vote for number. Or Let's vote
We have
our
to vote two more off, right? We have to vote two more off, right?
yes.
Yeah.
Cut 2 more off.
Okay. Well, I don't know why Air Race was gonna have from before. Because I'll just hold on to it.
We're all gonna have 3 different ones. You realize that, right?
I mean, not really. You guys were able to match up. We'll see.
All right. I have Catching Fire. Malcolm.
V for Vendetta.
B for Vendetta.
Motherfucker. Okay.
Only one Alan Moore makes this list, bud.
We'll
Oh,
see about that.
if one Alan Moore made it, I would have voted Watchmen.
All right. Malcolm, it's a lost cause. You're the only one who wants Watchmen off this list. Settle down. All right. Next one to vote off. Wow. I actually forgot this was on the list until I just looked down for a second. Wow.
All right. Going on to me. Same thing. Catching Fire. Malcolm.
Watchmen.
I said Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
Motherfucker.
So we got Malcolm. You need to stop because right now, me and Hunter are not going to vote for Watchmen.
Malcolm.
Well-
Pick between Willy Wonka and Catching Fire.
Well, considering I put up Willy Wonka, I'm not getting rid of it. So it has to. It's by default. It's Catching Fire, even though I disagree with that being off either as well. So
Okay, so Catching Fire is off.
That sucks. I'd have rather switched. I would have rather switched my. Well, no, never mind. I like both those. I would have voted Catching Fire off of Watchmen. So
Okay, so we have our top 7. Willy Wonka, the Chocolate Factory, Wizard of Oz, Watchmen, Lord of the Rings, Return of the King, Harry Potter, Prisoner of Azkaban, Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe, and The Disaster Artist. So now vote for number 7.
ah,
I'm just going to leave this here.
you're not
How about
gonna.
Malcolm put?
He has Watchmen as his number 7, and he's wrong.
All right, so I'll start. I have The Disaster Artist for number 7.
Oh, really? Dude,
Caleb?
I have Lord of the Rings 3.
You and Malcolm go for the exact same ones.
Because okay, you know what?
He's
Wait. What did you have? Disaster Artist or
Watchmen.
okay? If I have to pick and switch, I will switch my vote to Disaster Artist at 7.
Okay, we can do that.
And I mean, talking about being persistent, Sam says this coming from the person who was persistently putting Catching Fire up.
I mean, I didn't. I mean, okay.
All right.
We're talking about him.
Yeah, you're talking about me.
Yeah.
He's also the guy who went 0 for 3 in nominating Stephen King books.
Yes. All right, so vote for number 6.
Okay, number 6. All right,
I don't know why I waste my
It's a-
vote.
that's a lost cause. It's a lost cause for me to go for that. So
All right, start with me. I have Watchmen. Malcolm?
Watchmen, I can actually change votes.
Caleb?
Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Wow, Watchmen not even in the top 5. That's sad. That's a disgrace to the greatness of Alan Moore. At least it's on the 7.
Yeah, it's in the top 7.
All right.
All right, vote for number 5.
All right. Well, we'll switch it up. Still mad that No Country didn't make this list. I would have rather had No Country than Disaster Artist.
I would have much rather had No Country than Watchmen.
You haven't even seen the movie. Settle
Lord of the
down.
Rings, Return of the King.
I had Lord of the Rings: Return of the King.
Malcolm, what do you have?
I had a different fantasy movie. I actually had Prisoner of Azkaban.
Oh, I would have literally. I'm gonna put Azkaban above Lord of the Rings just slightly.
No. So Lord of the Rings is in number 5. Okay.
I don't think I would have ever heard that from you before about out of you, Caleb, wanting to put Harry Potter over Lord of the Rings.
Oh, I'll put Harry Potter over the Lord of the Rings every day of the week, depending on the movie. I mean, I won't put Chamber of Secrets or Sorcerer's Stone over any of the Lord of the Rings movies.
All right, go with me, Prisoner of Azkaban.
Prisoner of Azkaban.
Prisoner is Azkaban.
I'm okay with it being in number 4. Okay.
Okay, there are 3 options left, huh?
Yep.
My number 1 is in number 6, so that's awesome.
You can't always get what you want, Caleb.
I mean, I got a lot of picks on this list, so I'm not too mad. I mean, my number 1 didn't make the list, but my number 2 is at number 6.
Okay. I have Chronicles of Narnia, Lion and Witch Wardrobe.
I have
Malcolm?
Willy Wonka.
I have
Narnia.
Willy Wonka.
Willy Wonka! Yes!
Oh, Malcolm.
It was tough for me to want it that low, but I did like Lion, Witch, and Wardrobe slightly more.
Okay, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory is at number 3. All right, so vote for number 1. This one's gonna be really easy for me.
This is a coin flip.
I've done so many of these wing shows, you'd think I'd remember that.
This is wow.
All right,
I have to judge my criteria on this. Oh, okay, I'm gonna do this then. Okay, based on this criteria, we'll do this.
number 1 for me, well, Wizard of Oz. Malcolm?
No.
Wizard of Oz.
Okay, I'm not upset with that.
All right.
I'm not upset with that. Like, either one is fine. It was a coin flip. But for me, I was leaning slightly more towards Narnia because of the book to movie ratio. It's a great book that was a great movie. Wizard of Oz is an okay book that became a great movie. So I went by that way. But I'm not upset about it.
You see, I used that same argument as you, Caleb, but the books were flipped. I thought Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe was an okay book. Going into a great movie.
It's a better book than the Wizard of Oz book.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have our top 7. At number 7 is The Disaster Artist. Number 6, Watchmen. Number 5, Lord of the Rings: Return of the King. I apologize to Robert Parker for that one. Number 4, Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. I apologize to myself for that one. Number 3, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, which
Shouldn't be on this top 7. Shouldn't be on this top 7 at all.
Yes,
Moving
it
on.
should.
No, not over No Country.
Number 1, Wizard of Oz.
Not over No Country for Old Men, which is the true number 1 of this list.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is. It's the best movie to book adaptation. It's the most faithful.
You're not arguing with me about anything,
It
Caleb.
is the most faithful of the 10 books that we had in the top 10. No Country, hands down. And it's also the best movie of the top 10.
All right. Let's get into plugs. Malcolm, where can people find you?
You can find me on Take 3 Productions, where I host a show similar to this called Rankum. The next episode is going to be Simpsons characters. And you can also find me on Twitter, Letterboxd, and Stardust at Melkor.
All right,
And check out my Phantom Fights team match on Multiplex right now.
Right,
Yep.
that is it.
Caleb, where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Caleb Coho. That's KALEBKOHO. You can find me on YouTube, Caleb Coho, where I do music stuff, Coho Productions, where I do film stuff. And on both channels right now is my movie Chick Part 2, where you can watch that for free. What's not free is my album Shoot for Teams, which you can find that I did with my group, The Forks. Shoot for Teams by The Forks is on Spotify, iTunes, wherever you consume digital music. So you can get that album if you want. Check it out. I'd appreciate it. I am also one of the head admins over at Multiplex Entertainment. I host Fandom Fight every Friday. Singles and teams both go up that day. Nerdgasm every Saturday. That'll be coming back soon. Multiplex Fantasy Football every Wednesday that I host with Tim Smith. and a new show with Jake Rangoni that'll be up Thursdays that I'm not quite ready to announce yet because we film our first episode Sunday, and we'll see how that works. But that'll be coming up very soon, so check that out. That'll be in our Thursday slot. Yeah, that's about it. So check out Multiplex Entertainment. That's where you'll see this ugly mug all the time. So.
All right, and if you guys enjoyed this, hit that like button, subscribe to our TV, and also don't forget Monday night. Yes, Monday night. Myself and Nico Suave Regoli, along with a guest of mine, a close buddy of mine, are shooting our very first episode of This Week in Wrestling, an all wrestling podcast. We are going to be reviewing WWE's Hell in a Cell 2018. I hope it's good, but if it's not, it's going to be very entertaining to yell and scream about it. But check that out on Stitcher, on Apple Music, and where podcasts are sold. So check that out, and like, share, subscribe. I'm Hunter. That's Malcolm. That's Caleb. And we're Film Nerds, and we'll see you guys soon. Peace.